Welcome to Tapestry with Miriam once again. I'm here in the studio with Adrian Bruff, who's running for ward councillor here in Ode Amin. I know I'm not saying it correctly, but it's a strawberry. Ode Amin, yes. You've talked about a lot of commitments that you're going to bring to the table when you are elected as a councillor. Some of the commitments you've talked about is economy, safety, infrastructure. You're going to make sure that you contribute more and maybe more than what it is now. What is more important for our city or for the ward, your ward, where you are now? Like, what is more important to?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when I'm door knocking or I'm talking to folks, the number one issue that in my writing that they're concerned about is the issue of homelessness and how we can best address that. People are also concerned about crime and safety, and they're also worried about the economy with COVID-19. And they want a candidate that actually have a plan to actually tackle some of those issues that are affecting their neighborhoods. So for example, the issue of homelessness, I have a two-part plan on how I think we can best address that. So the first part of the plan is we're going to turn some abandoned buildings into in our community into wellness centers.
Oh,
for
nice.
example, the Remand Center. So what that looks like is they will have wraparound services at the bottom. So mental health support, safe consumption side, rehabilitation, cultural support, 24-hour access to food and laundry. And then above that, we're going to build some 1-bedrooms and 2-bedroom units for them to stay at. The thing with Miriam is that most folks who are homeless or houseless, we can only provide palliative care for them. And they're also aging.
Okay.
So making sure that these wellness centers are supporting those individuals and meeting them where they're at is a step in the right direction. And then from that, we can individuals who have become healthier can then transition out into the community, which will lead into phase 2 of my plan, which is to turn abandoned homes and vacant lots in our communities into affordable homes and support centers for folks to actually live and get that ongoing support that they need.
That's important, but sometimes, like with homelessness, there comes challenges where you want those people to come out of the streets, and sometimes they don't want to come out of the streets. How do you plan to make sure that they will be accepting your proposal to get into that?
This model is not going to fit everyone, and it's important to point out that there's other organizations out in our community doing good work now that we can always direct those individuals to those resources and see if those are authentic connections that they can have with those supports that are already in place. So the plan that I want to implement, this two-part plan, is by 2030, it should cut homelessness by up to 80% and see that a lot of folks that are homeless or houseless have some support and some structure for themselves. And they're able to participate in their full citizenship, from full citizenship and being a Kenyan.
Oh, very, very good. And on one of the things that you have talked about before is transportation as well. What are the options for transportation in our city? What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, public transit, so I do support public transit.
Yeah.
I do support expanding public transit, and I do support having affordable and reliable public transit. So public transit is roughly around 13% of our budget, of our annual budget. The city spends on public transit. And in terms of options that we have the LRT and we have buses.
Yeah.
And now they're debating a public-private option for the gondola that they're building by Rossdale. So I do believe in building 15 minutes walkable communities.
Okay.
I live in Oliver. My doctor is in Oliver. My dentist is in Oliver. My job is in Oliver. So all the resources and connections that I depend on lives within a walking distance in my community. And I want to see other communities have those opportunities too. And those are some of the structures and investment that I want to see communities have when we're moving forward after this pandemic.
Oh, very well said. Very well said. And the other question I have for you also is about the new proposal that will come to you. I'm sure as a councillor, there will be new proposals, new piece of proposals for infrastructure. How do you plan to make sure you evaluate it in a way that it's sustainable to
for sure.
to
We
the
need to make sure that we're going through the proper consultation phases. We're having consultation with the indigenous community and community leads and stakeholders.
Yes.
We're making sure that it's environmentally friendly and we're meeting, and this infrastructure is within our city's target to get to a zero
On the budget.
emission.
Yeah.
It's also
Emission.
within budget.
Yeah.
And we're also making sure that it's connecting community and resources, that folks are actually going to use it. We don't want to build an infrastructure where folks aren't going to be using. We want to make sure that we're investing in things that people want to see in their community and things that are going to help communities thrive and succeed.
Oh, very nice, very nice. I'm very, I'm very impressed by what you plan to do for the city and you plan to do for the ward as well. And I'm sure for the community that you are continuously, being part of the community and helping the community. I know you talked about this back to school and all that. The other question I have for you is, as a Black young man, how do you plan to make sure that the young people in your community, maybe especially Black people, how do you plan to make them, get them involved in the decision-making process of our
That's
city?
a good question. Minority turnout is not always high when it comes to voting.
Yeah.
And in particular when it comes to municipal election, folks don't tend to
municipal
show up and
election.
vote.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
one of the things that we need to do is make sure that we're exciting young folks and the reasons why they need to vote. And that starts with actually having a candidate who's going to put forward policy that is important to young people.
Yeah.
Young people want to see that there's good paying jobs when they leave university. They want to see that we're protecting our environment for future
Yes.
generations.
Yeah.
They want to see that we're building affordable homes, and they want to see reliable and affordable public transport.
Yeah.
And those are some of the things I'm passionate about, and those are some of the things I'm looking to implement if I'm elected on council.
Yeah, because sometimes young people would just think that this is for old people's things. And the reason why I'm impressed and I'm really inspired by what you're doing is because you're a young person and you're coming forward to say, I want to be in the public service and do that. And maybe when we have more and more of you, then, young people would tend to be like, more interested in voting, in making sure that, they are sitting on the decision table as well. And
Absolutely.
yes.
And there's organizations that are like the YEG Become Up. They're doing good work to try to mobilize young folks to be involved in politics. And then the new group, YEG Muslim Vote, they're trying to mobilize young folks to come out and vote in the election. So there's a lot happening behind the scenes. So we're trying to get people out to vote on the things that matters to them and the things that they want to see for their city.
Now, on that note, how do you mitigate the systemic racism in?
Well, addressing racial prejudice and racism is important to me.
Yeah.
I think that there's organizations in our city that are already doing good work to address that.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that we're providing permanent funding for them.
Yeah.
And that could look like having a partnership with the provincial government and the federal government along with the city to get those funding in place to support these organizations that are already doing good work.
Yeah.
I think that we should have, if I'm elected on council, I want to implement ongoing non-biased training within our city, which would be free for folks to just hop in and learn some things about how to be more conscious about race and the conversations that they're having with their families. I also want to make sure that in terms of street checks, which oftentimes target Black, brown, Indigenous, and poor white Edmontonians by police, I want to eliminate that so we're not being systematically stopped and harassed by police just by walking on the street.
Yeah.
I also want to make sure that we're implementing a task force that will overlook and implement and govern how we're implementing policies to promote tolerance and to address racism. So having a task force, ending street checks, and providing funding, permanent funding for organizations that are already in place doing good work, those are some of the things that I think we can do to address systematic racism in our city.
Wow, you've heard him, Adrian Bruff. He's well and ready. So lastly, what, if you were to change something, what would you change really on your?
We talked a little about this earlier before the show, and it's ensuring that we're secure outside of municipal politics.
Yeah.
If we could step outside of municipal politics and some of the roles and responsibilities of councillors, I would change having access to good, healthy food.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that we have a system in place to provide families with healthy, nutritious food for them to take care of themselves and their families. And we need to make sure that that system is not will not be at risk because of the economy, because of a pandemic, or because of climate crisis. We need to make sure that we're providing funding so that families can have good, healthy foods in our city. And that's something I'll be advocating for to make sure that our city has.
So when you talk about change and maybe mitigating that, health, eating, health, lifestyles and all that, would you say that as a councillor, you would be able to see, we have a lot of food banks around, and sometimes food banks, people just have any food and anyhow. How would you probably mitigate that as well? Like, would you maybe rather change the way the food banks operate, or make sure they have health foods that they have, or is it because it's an emergency, maybe it's different, but I just want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I think Africa Center is doing a good job in showing us how we can provide alternative food banks to different communities and different aspects and areas of our communities.
Yeah.
And having cultural food to
yeah, the cultural aspect, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's something that we should be doing. I think the food banks that we have here are doing amazing work to feed Edmontonians and to provide healthy meals. Obviously, that's going to take more Edmontonians pitching and donating and supporting the Edmonton Food Bank. So if you can, please go and support your local food bank.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. So what else do you want our viewers to know about you? Where can they find you? How can they support you? How, can you just tell us?
Well, I'm running a grassroots campaign that depends solely on small donations from folks within the community.
Yeah.
You can make a small donation by going to adrianbruff.ca, or you can send us an email at info@adrianbruff.ca. We're also looking for volunteers. If you're looking for something to do, we're running an exciting campaign. Please come by and volunteer. You can fill out the form on our website. We also have a phone number. You can reach us, 587-594-8586. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Also, please, if you can, donate. Donate. Yeah, you said it. So this has been really wonderful. I know it was a short interview and all that, but it's been really wonderful to have you here in our studio. I really want to thank the viewers for tuning in as well. And when you win, I'm sure when you win, people would see now the real Adrian, how you work and stuff. And I really, you're already doing a lot of work. I know I've worked with you in some of these organizations as well and movements. Please follow him on social media. Again, it's adrianbruff.ca. And gratitude to all our viewers. Once again, gratitude to Univision Production for their studio works. Please follow us on social media, www.fusingwhoami.com. Your thread, your tapestry. Thank you. Thank you.